could you do? Sorry. All right, folks, and folks watching later, the plan is to do the last 4 of the letters today, starting with H and then JKL, and we'll just do them in order. Come on, everything's going slow right now. All right, so we need a new create. Oh, wait, I'm not sharing up front. Let's go like that. There we go. Okay, we need a new create part studio. And let's go ahead and just rename it right now. And rename it part H. And let's go full screen just to give us a few more pixels to work with. And let's see what we got. All right, so H is definitely going to be a start with a big chunk and cut out what we don't want. So we've got a total height of the front of, so this is our baseline and this is our highest point. So the height here is 2 and 4, so it's 6 tall. And the width is from here, this is the widest point this way. This is the widest point that way. And if we count across, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 wide, 6 tall, and extruded 5. So that's our first step. Let's create a new sketch on the front plane. Look at it straight on. Get a 2-point rectangle or corner rectangle. Snap there, and dimension 6 tall. Yep, that's right. 9 wide. And finish the sketch. Look at it from a corner. Turn off the origin planes and point. Go to extrude. Choose what we want to extrude and extrude at 5. All right. Now we can do the rest in 2 separate steps. The first thing we're going to do is cut out this sort of overhang portion. I know I clicked on this. Oh, come on. Yeah. So first thing is going to cut out this overhang portion, which is a rectangle that's 3 wide and 4 tall. So it's going to be over here somewhere, and cut extrude all the way through. Need to make sure that our first click is in this bottom corner so that it snaps to there and gets everything going all the way to the bottom corner. Okay, so let's put a new sketch on the front face. Look at it straight on. And rectangle, snap to the bottom left corner. Make it look about right. Get the dimension tool, dimension it to 3 wide by 4 tall. And finish the sketch. Look at it from a corner. Can't really see the square, but there it is. And extrude. Choose our rectangle, switch it to remove, and change blind to through all. Hit OK. Now, the other portion is, I mean, you could do this a couple ways. We could draw on, come on, I clicked on it. Yeah, we could draw on the front here and cut it back this far, but then we'd have to draw another one and cut it back that way. I think the easier way is to just draw this shape, which is a little more complicated, but it's something like this. Draw this shape on the top and cut it down a distance of 4. The way we're going to make this shape is with 2 rectangles, one here in the front right, that's 4 wide and 3 deep. And then another one from back here that's 1 wide and 2 deep. And when we have that, we can cut extrude both of them at the same time, the same distance. Okay, so we'll start a sketch on the top face, look at it straight on from the top, and draw a rectangle from the front, bottom, no, front, right, technically the top. It's the top because this is the front top right corner, but we're looking at it from the top, so it's down here. Don't overthink that. And the distance this way is 3, and the distance this way is 4. Then the other part is just another rectangle that snaps to here. And if you snap it to our existing line, you don't need to do that dimension because we are saying make it exactly that, which is what we want. So we only have one dimension to do, and that dimension is the width here. Okay, make sure when you mouse over this portion, the part that highlights is just the line and not the whole thing. If you try to highlight the whole thing, it will not let you do that dimension because that's, first of all, it's not part of the sketch, but it's also not something you can change at this point since it's already been extruded. But we just want that to be 1. All the lines are black, meaning that it's fully constrained. Finish the sketch, extrude, choose this one and this one, switch it to remove, and we want to remove the first 4 inches of it. And there you go, that's part H. And I hate how I can't see the bottom row. All right, so we just have J, K, and L left. Let's go through them in order. J is a little tricky. That is because, so the rule is for any sloped line, you need to know where the line starts and where the line finishes, and then just connect those points. I mean, like I've said this before, you can like do some Pythagoras and figure out how long it's supposed to be and do an angle dimension and all that kind of stuff. But it's easier just to constrain the lines, figure out this point, and connect them. The problem is in the points that this connects to, this point here is just sort of floating in space. So we are going to need to make this and dimension where it exists in space. And once we do that, then we will know where this point is and connect it. And the same thing for the other side. But we're going to start with lines that we know. And the lines that we know, come on now. The lines that we know start here, and we can go all the way around just with 90-degree turns and straight lines using the line tool and dimension. And once we have that, we'll do the next step. And we're actually going to do this all in one extrusion. It's just a complicated sketch first. So we need a new part. Let's rename this to part J. And we'll do a sketch, create a sketch on the front plane and look at it straight on. And this is where we're going to do almost everything. So we need the line tool, and the line tool, it will let you click and drag, but it's kind of a bad habit. You should be doing click once, move up, click again. And let's just do the other key for a line tool is make a line, dimension it, make a line, dimension it, and so on, so that everything doesn't get flipped, because it's always going to try and guess what you want, but it can guess wrong if you have several lines on there. So we're going to make one line, dimension it. This is the total width, which is 11, which I just know. The reason it's 11, so we've got, well, you could just count, but it's 5 there and 5 there, and then this one in the middle. So it's 11 wide. The total height is 6. So both of these lines will be 6, and then both of these lines are 2 coming back in. So we have 11 there. Let's dimension this to 6. And we need another line from here that goes straight up that dimensions to 6. And lines that come in from the top, dimension that to 2. And another line that comes in from the top and dimension that to 2. And I'm going to turn off the visibility of our origin planes at this point. And all right, so what we've got to do is make the 3 lines little sort of trough here in space. Just a vertical line of 1 inch, horizontal line of 1 inch, and a vertical line of 1 inch, roughly in the right place. But it will be floating because we're just sort of guessing where it is. So then we need to dimension all of those lines, not each of them, but because they'll all be constrained to each other. 1 point of it from the bottom and another point of it from the side. But first, we just need to make these 3 lines roughly in the right place. So let's get a line tool, zoom in to get a few more pixels to work with. And so we got 1 line there. And as long as you're close to the right size, you can sort of get away with making all the lines before dimensioning any of them. But this one is going to be 1. This one is going to be 1. And this one is going to be 1. Okay, they're all fully constrained to each other, but they're all blue because we have not constrained their location. So we need to get the dimension tool and dimension the bottom of this blue line here, the bottom of these 3 lines to the bottom of everything. And they are 2 off of the ground, off the lowest point, which is right here. 2 there to there. And the distance from, you could do either side, but not both, because once you do 1, it's fully constrained. The distance from the side of everything is 5. So we're going to do dimension tool, distance from here to here is, wow, look at that. That's pretty close. 5. And so now this is all fully constrained. We know this is the correct place for this point, and for here also, and the same on the other side. So we can just get a line tool, first snap there, second snap there. And notice it's fully constrained, even though we didn't put any dimensions on it, because the places we connected are fully constrained. And this dimension goes here, and this one there. And right click escape line, although you don't need to do that. Finish the sketch, look at it from a corner, and we only need to do 1 extrusion, and it's the total depth. And the total depth from here to here is 3. Extrude, choose this, and extrude a distance of 3. There we go. Part J. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay. Yeah, and you probably should keep these in order. It will be easier later on to find them all if they are in order. And make sure you are doing all of these letters in the same document, meaning they're tabs on the same document. It will just be easier for everything. Okay, so we have one more, another one, well, 2 more, but the next one, second to last one, the penultimate one, is part K. So let's rename our new one to part K. And part K, another pretty easy one, and these are all relatively easy, that we're going to do a full block of everything, maximum dimension in all 3 dimensions, and then cut away what we don't want. So let's figure out the size of the block. The block is 1, 2, 3, 6 tall. And it is 2, 4, 8 wide, I think. Unmute.
Okay.
So it is 6 tall, 8 wide, and 5 deep. Let's actually turn the front one back on. Start a sketch on the front, look at it straight on, get a rectangle from here, go up across, just like always, dimension. Width is 8, height is 6. Finish the sketch, look at it from a corner, turn off the visibility of the origin point and the origin planes. And we can extrude it 5. Hit OK. All right, so what do we want to get rid of now? Well, we have to do this in 2 separate steps. And I think we're going to use, well, for the first one, we definitely are going to make a rectangle and then extrude. Should we use chamfer? No, we'll save chamfer for later. So we need to cut out either this shape on the top. Cut out this rectangle that's 3 by 6 on the top. We can either do that and cut extrude down, or we can draw this 4 by 6 on the front and cut extrude back. Doesn't matter, but we can't handle this at the same time because there's no way that you could extrude both. So let's just put a sketch on the top. I think it's easier to see that 3 by 6 rectangle as the part that we need to cut away. So let's get a rectangle from the front right corner and dimension it to 6 by 3. And finish the sketch, look at it from a corner. And its depth is 4. So extrude. Why is it not letting me? Oh, I don't know why. Oh, that is sketch. This was happening last time, and I don't know why. Oh, now it does. Remove a distance of 4. Okay, and then the last part is, I wouldn't say it's tricky, but you need to pay attention to where you click. I mean, I suppose you always do. The part we want to cut away is this portion here. And we know that this part of the sloped line is connects to this point, but this doesn't connect to any point that we have so far, but we know it connects to this top edge. And what we're going to do is just have it start here and end somewhere on this top edge other than this point and the exact center. And then we're going to dimension the distance from that point to the edge. And that is a distance of 2. And that will move this line into the correct position. And then we'll be able to cut away this entire triangle going back. So let's start a new sketch on this face. Look at it straight on. Get a line. We should get a snap to this bottom corner. And you can see that we're not sketching on the front of everything. We're sketching sort of on this face that's back a little bit. And we want it to connect somewhere on the top here, but not this corner and not the center point, just somewhere on the top edge. And right click, done with the line. Then dimension And we're not dimensioning this line. We're dimensioning the distance from, you got to make sure you get just the point as your first click. I don't know how easy it is on a touchpad to get that exact point as your first click, and either this line or this point on your second click, and third click, set it to 2. So I'm just realizing that might be super complicated on a touchpad. And if you're struggling, I will show you another way to do that in a second. So once we have that, will it let us extrude? Yes. So we'll do finish sketch, extrude. Again, always look at it from a corner. Oh no, it's not letting us. Oh, it is. Okay, remove through all, and there you go. If you struggled with that, like finding the exact point and stuff, the other thing you can do for any sort of sloped edge or broken edge is a chamfer. Okay, you can see from the little pictograph here that it cuts off a corner, and it's a part feature, meaning like it's a 3-dimensional feature. There is a 2-dimensional chamfer for sketches, but this is, we don't have an open sketch, so it has to be the 3D one. And it asks for which entities, it's usually just an edge, and you're just going to click there, and you can see what it's doing. It's cutting off that sort of broken edge. So all we need to do is figure out how far in from the side we want to cut. So it's something like this. And we know this point out here, if we extended straight up and extended straight out, this point, this actual corner that we have before we do the cut is right here. And you could count down to here, and that is a distance of 4. Or you could count, well, and you can count this way from here to here, and you know that's a distance of 4. So that's why we can use equal distance. And equal distance will give you a 45-degree cut, because it, like I said, it's the same distance this way as this way, counting from the edge. So we want our distance to be 4, and it makes that cut. The other options are 2 distance and distance in an angle. 2 distance allows you to do something like 3 this way and 4 this way, and have a different angled situation. And distance in an angle isn't really relevant. So we have our 4-inch chamfer, and there you go. That's part K. In fact, that may have been easier than the way I showed you the first time. And only one more, and then we're good for today. And that is part L. Just forgot the alphabet there. Part L. And part L is a lot like K. In fact, we can use that 2-dimensional chamfer for this part. We can't really use it for here unless we did it a different way, but we aren't going to do it that way. The way we're going to do it, we're going to start with, this is going to be another subtractive method where we start with our maximum dimension in all 3 dimensions, and then cut away what we don't want. So first thing is figure out the total height, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tall. And our total width is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wide, and 4 deep. So 9 by 6, and then extrude 4. And then we'll deal with the rest. Okay, sketch on the front plane, look at it straight on. Regular rectangle from here going this way. Dimension width to 9 and height to 6. Finish sketch, look at it from a corner. Turn off the visibility of the origin, planes, and point, and we can extrude it choose that, extrude it to 4. Okay, so this is our big chunk. We just need to cut away, and we have to do this in 2 separate cuts, although one's going to be a chamfer, so 2 different part features. So in the first one we're going to do is this one in the front. And this one in the front is just going to be a line that connects the top edge to the bottom edge, but neither points are the center point. This is 3 from the side, and this is 2 from the side, 2 from the other side. So we're going to have to do that thing where you choose 1 point. Your dimensioning is between 1 point and the side, which I wonder if there's a way to chamfer it better. No, we're just going to have to deal with it. If you're struggling with the touchpad, finding like doing that 1 point dimension, point to point dimension, we just got to figure it out, because there are times you will have to do that in order to make more complex things. So either way, we're just going to start with a line that's roughly over here on the top edge. So it snaps to an edge, but not the edge or not the corner or the center point. And same thing down here, somewhere on the edge, has to snap to the edge, but not the center point or the corner. So let's go ahead and do that. We need a new sketch on the front face, look at it straight on, get a line that snaps somewhere up here, not the center and not the corner. And same thing down here. Okay, right click, escape line. And we need to dimension the distance from the left side or corner, because it's a horizontal dimension, doesn't matter. The distance from there to that point, that was actually a lot easier than last time. And that distance is 2. And the distance, the location of this point is either, you could do it either direction, either what you're keeping or what you're cutting. Okay, this point right here is 3 from this side, but it's also 6 from this side, and it doesn't matter which of those 2 dimensions you do, but you have to do one of them. I'm going to do it 3 from the right. Dimension tool from the point. It's kind of hard, actually. I think if you start, why is that hard? Dimension from this point to that point, and that needs to be 3. Finish sketch, look at it from a corner. I hate the line choices or line colors, because you can't really see it when it's in the shadow. But either way, the extrusion distance is 2. So we will extrude and choose the, why is it not let me do this? Okay, so it's kind of inconsistent, but it's only counting this line as actually existing. The parameter is not counting as line, so it can't choose what to extrude because this is not enclosed. I don't like how it's inconsistent, but in order to have these lines part of the sketch, you could either just redraw them, like from there to there, there to there, there to there. And let me just make sure this works. So before I tell you that's the way to do it, extrude. Why is it not letting me do this? Nope. So that wasn't a way to solve this. What about use? Then can we extrude? Okay. All right. So the use tool, what it does is it projects the lines or projects edges onto your sketch. So you need to click on the use tool. If, and I don't know, it's so inconsistent, it might be working for you the first time, but use will project, and you'll see these orange, the edges that are orange will go from this light gray to a thicker line. And now they are part of the sketch. So we can finish the sketch and extrude and please work. Yep, there we go. So now we can choose this, switch it to remove and a distance of 2. Hit OK. Okay, and so the last part feature for this entire side of the green sheet is, let me get rid of this. This chamfer that we're going to do right here, which is a cutaway right there. So we're going to use the chamfer tool on this edge, but we need to realize that from this point, which is where it would connect, where we do already have material, this point right here is 2 from the right side. And this point right here is 3 from the top. So we need to use the type of chamfer that has 2 distances. And distance 1 or distance 2, you're just sort of guessing the first time. It's guessing based on which way is up, but that's neither here nor there. So we just need to do chamfer, choose this edge, and we want 2 distances. And let's see what distance 1 is. 2. Okay, so we guessed right. The other distance is 3. And if you clicked them in wrong, I think you can just click reverse and it will do 2 the other way and 3 the other way. But we want it 2 and 3 as our 2 distances and hit OK. There we go. That is part K. And that is it for the front side of the green sheet. Okay, you definitely need to be caught up today, and I'll post this recording as soon as possible.